Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the fifth session of the Shortcuts Career Clinic Hackathon series. So this is running from October 2020 until January 2021 next year. Looking forward to next year already, I have to admit. So yes, this is the fifth session, and today we're going to look at how to hack the job search. But before we do, in my previous sessions, I haven't been as interactive as I would have liked. So I'm going to start off by asking you, where in the world are you from originally? And if you just write your answer in the chat section of either YouTube or Facebook, and then Sail1 will read them out, and we can see how diverse our audience is today. So yeah, just write it in the chat section. Say one as soon as some comments come in, just let me know, give us a shout where people are from.
Yeah, hello, Stefan.
Hey.
Hey, I just wrote where I'm from as a first comment. So I'm from South Korea, and yeah, we're waiting for the answers to come up.
Okay, so maybe we have a shy audience today. Maybe.
Yeah.
We don't have to dwell on this for too long, but I just wanted to get people's attention and get them talking with one another, which I thought would be nice. I'm from the UK, but you probably already know that, and I'll introduce myself a little bit in a second. But we'll just wait another 20 or 30 seconds to see what people say.
Yeah, and actually now we have one person. We have Jessica from UK as well.
Brilliant. Solidarity. Hey, Jessica. Where in the UK originally, Jessica? I know she can't speak, but hopefully she can type.
Yeah. I really also hope to see some people from South Korea as well. But I think it will be rare. Yeah. Where in the UK are you from, Stefan?
So I'm originally, good question. I'm originally from a town called Guildford. So it's 30 minutes south of London. But before I moved to Helsinki, I was in London for 7 years. I'm living in Southeast London. So a place called Peckham, which is super fun.
So you're London.
Yeah, why not? Why not? We'll say that. Nice. Any other comments, or should we move on?
But actually, Jessica told that the county called Hertfordshire.
Yeah, Hertfordshire. Yeah. Okay, so that's not too far from London either. It's just north of London. Nice.
Okay, nice.
All right, cool. Well, we'll get cracking then. I don't want to stick on this for too long.
Yeah.
So a little introduction about me. So I'm currently the acting CEO of The Shortcut. As you already know, I hail from the UK originally, and I moved to Helsinki last August. And yeah, you can probably see in my photo, but I've got quite an interesting color palette, I guess. Brown hair, blue eyes, and a ginger beard. And I have no idea why. It's really strange. And as always, like, if you're listening to this and you want some advice or some help when it comes to job searching and employability, do connect with me in LinkedIn. You can see my profile there on the slide. Okay, so just a few rules, a bit of guidance. Make sure you have your laptop and phone chargers next to you so that you don't drop off. If you have any questions for the lovely Sail1, then please write them in the chat section, and we have a dedicated Q&A section at the back of this presentation, and we'll make sure we'll answer all of your questions. This session is being recorded, and the benefit of that is that we can then share it with you via email and social media if you want to watch it again, or if you missed it and this is the first time and you're watching the recording now. Okay, so today's agenda, we're going to talk a little bit about who The Shortcut are as an organization, how the community underpins everything we do, how you can get involved with us. Today's objective, the job search hacks. Then I want to do a little bit of networking with you all if you're all willing. Then we'll open it up to the Q&A, and there's also an additional resources slide as well if you want to find out a little bit more. You can see from this slide, I've said LinkedIn. I need to update that. Cool, so here with the shortcut. So we are the largest talent accelerator in the Nordics. What does that mean practically? Well, it means that we equip people like yourselves with the skills and networks you need to either work as an entrepreneur, own your own company, or work at a high growth company / startup. We do this by offering loads of free activities. We're owned by the Startup Foundation alongside our sister organizations like Slush, Junction, Maria01 and Wave Ventures. And we're not for profit or non-profit, depends what you prefer, which means that any profit we do make, we reinvest into the business to best serve you, our community. And talking of our community, it's at the very center of what we do. And we have a value that's attributed to our community, and that is that we are for the people, by the people. So we support each other in our pursuit of employment, entrepreneurship, and giving back. It's really easy to get involved and stay connected with us. Just follow us on all of our social media channels. But I would also recommend to go to our website and subscribe to our newsletter, because you'll stay ahead of the curve and you'll be up to date with everything that's going on in the following months. And all of our events and activities, I mentioned it before, are free to join. So there's a really low barrier to entry. So do come along. We'd love to see you. Okay, we can move on to the presentation proper. So today's objective is just to go through some fairly simple job search hacks to accelerate you into employment. Some of the stuff might not be new, but it's good to have a refresh, and it's also good to try and navigate the Finnish market, which is a little bit different to the job markets of other countries. So let's jump straight into it. So hack number one, make sure you've bookmarked all of these job boards, career coaching services, and talent pools. And you can see that there's a hyperlink here that I've included in the presentation. And I've been doing a lot of work over the last couple of months about identifying all of the different job sites and all of the different talent pools in Finland. So you might not be able to see my screen here because it's quite small, but this presentation is embedded in the one I'm presenting now, so you'll have access to it. And you can see all of the job sites that I've mapped in Finland that are important that you bookmark. I've then also included all of the talent pools that you can join. So the talent pools are very similar to having a LinkedIn profile, to be honest. But the good news is about joining a talent pool is that the recruiters that work at that company will reach out to you if they have an opening which they think you're suitable for. So you can see here that there are 7 talent pools you should probably be part of in Finland. And you can also see, there's lots here. There's 4812. There are 15 different job sites that I've identified in Finland that are important, that you're aware of. Yes. So that's the first thing. Fairly straightforward. Just make sure you've mapped all of the job sites in Finland, and I've done that for you already. So that's nice and easy. And why? By joining all the talent pools, you maximize your visibility across Finland and the working world. And also by bookmarking all the job boards, you make sure you don't miss any suitable openings. Quite a simple hack, to be honest, the very first one. So we'll move on to the second one. So follow these hashtags on LinkedIn. So I've included the Finnish words and then in brackets the English words. And you can follow hashtags on LinkedIn. You may have already been aware of this, but it's quite straightforward. You just type in the hashtag and the word into the search bar, and then when you search it, it will ask whether you want to follow it. And when you follow it, your newsfeed then, yeah, I guess it's your newsfeed, your personal feed then becomes populated with any posts of these keywords. And what's really great is that recruiters at companies often use these keywords. So you'll be the very first to see job postings from certain companies and certain recruiters. And when recruiters say we're hiring, it's then very easy for you to contact them and say, hey, I'm looking for a job. I want to work at your company. I can see that you have vacancies. So yeah, follow all of these hashtags on LinkedIn, and you'll see that your personal feed becomes like littered with all of the job opportunities available in Finland. And also, the reason for tagging them in Finnish is that although some jobs don't require Finnish, recruiters post them in Finnish, which is a little bit tricky. And by following the hashtags, you don't miss an opportunity. Also, and I should have included this as well in the hack, some jobs in Finland, well, a lot of them are never advertised. And so recruiters might just post it once on LinkedIn and that's it, and expect their network to come to them. So again, if you follow these hashtags, you make sure you don't miss any of those posts. I'm not going to try and pronounce those words. But anyway, hack number 3, so iterate. So when you're applying for a job, you should plan, you should do. If you have a negative result, you should reflect on what you think went wrong. Then you need to adjust, but only adjust in a small way. Do one thing small differently. Do it again. If you have a negative result, again, go back to step 4, reflect. Okay, what can I do slightly differently next time? And again, number 5, adjust. So the idea here is that don't keep applying to companies in the same way if it's not working. It's a waste of your time. Like, just try and identify small changes that you can make and see how successful they are. Like, you might make one small change and think, oh, I got to the interview stage here. And I just want to kind of make you aware of this mentality of not doing the same thing all of the time and trying something new. And as I've said in the description, why at the bottom, you can start to identify what works and what doesn't. It's a little bit like A/B testing in marketing, I guess. Hack number 4, and now the rest of the hacks are going to really center around this. And I'm sure you've been told this lots and lots and lots, but I can't stress how important it is. But the key to finding work in Finland is to network, network, network. And then when you're tired of networking, you need to network some more. Why is this? Well, 70% of jobs in Finland are never publicly advertised. Positions are often filled through recommendations, referrals, and with people within certain people's networks. That's really dissimilar to places like the UK, where networking and recommendations are less common, and it's all about going through the job application process. But here, because it's a smaller community, it's a smaller society, everyone knows each other better. And so they don't feel the need to publicly advertise because they can source the talent they need within their own circles. So you need to try and penetrate those circles, and the way to penetrate them is to network. So the next, I think it's the next 5 hacks are all centered around how you can network. Yes, so hack number 5, networking tip 1, search and connect with people who work in your industry/profession. So you sort of have to get past the embarrassment barrier, and you have to reach out to people and just say, hey, I'm new to Finland, or I've been here for a while, doesn't matter which. I work in the same industry profession as you. Can we connect, and can I talk to you about how you secured a job here? You have to start doing it. If you're nervous about it, then the first thing you can do is contact me and say, hey, this is the industry profession I want to work in. Like, do you know anyone? And I can connect you with someone. Why? So you're going to see this explanation across all of the other tips as well. When you search and connect with people within your industry profession, you're creating meaningful, but also intentional connections that increase your chances of securing work. Networking tip number 2. So you should identify your added value and the company's pain points. And the reason you should do that is that when you're reaching out to, either a recruiter or someone that's relevant to your industry or profession, if you can identify how you can give them value and the company's problems, you create a compelling case for you working at that company. Like, you put yourself one step ahead of everyone else. Even if there's not a job available, you can still reach them and say, hey, this is an open application, but here's my added value. Here's your and here's how I can solve your problems. I've given an example here. This is very specific to my area as operations, but I could say something like, I recently grew and scaled operations at company X by establishing solid processes. So that's the added value. I understand your company is looking to scale its operations, and I believe I can help you do this. So I can see that's the company pain point. I may have seen that, and they recently secured VC funding, and they're looking to grow their operations, and that's their pain point, and I can help them solve that pain point. Why? Same as the networking tip number 1. If you give added value in companies' pain points, it makes your conversation and connection intentional. You're not just like saying, oh, let's meet up for coffee, and then nothing happens. You're already creating a bit more meaning, and hopefully they'll remember you if a position becomes available. Networking tip number 3, or hack number 7. So join industry groups on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Slack, and start having a conversation with people. So I've given you a few examples here. They might not all be relevant to you, but it was really easy to find them. It took less than 30 seconds. But on LinkedIn, there's a tech recruiter community in Finland. So if you work in talent acquisition, join that community group and just say, hey, nice to be a member. Would anyone want to meet me up for coffee so we can talk about how I can find work? Free Code Camp Helsinki is a Slack workspace. If you're a software engineer, join the Slack workspace. Ask people in that community whether anyone's hiring at their job, and ask them what they specifically look for in a software engineer. And then IT Jobs in Finland is a Facebook group. And so very much like the Free Code Camp, if you want to work in the IT sector, go in that group and start asking around. It's really important and really valuable. Why? Same as before, I'm not going to repeat myself. Meaning and intentional. Networking tip number 4. So attend events relating to your profession and connect with the speakers/attendees. So Eventbrite and Meetup are probably the best 2 websites to browse events in Finland and Helsinki. So do check those websites out. I've included the link. There are a couple of examples that I've given here. So the Shortcut itself runs a weekly club called the Digital Marketing Club. And each week they have a marketing professional from a different startup in Helsinki talk about a marketing technique. And so if you work in marketing, come and join those events. Start interacting with the speaker. Start interacting with the attendees. After the event, connect with them, see where they work, and start building those meaningful and intentional connections. Some of you also might be aware of the International Recruitment in Finland group on Meetup, which has got over 1,000 people in it now, which is great. But start attending their meetups, and again, start talking to the organizers of those companies, of that group, I should say, because actually a couple of them own their own companies and are always looking for talent. So there's just a couple of examples. They might not be specific to your industry area, but I just want to make it obvious how easy it is to find these groups and these events. Hack number 9, or networking tip number 5. I've confused myself with the numbering convention there. Anyway, ask your current network to connect you with one other person. And it's really simple to do. And if your current network won't have any problems, I guarantee you. And by that way, your network exponentially grows, and you keep having good conversations, and you increase the likelihood of you finding a lead for a potential job. So scour through your current network on LinkedIn, message someone that you're comfortable with, and ask them, can you connect me with one other person in this field? I want to have a conversation with them about how I can get work here. Why? And thankfully, we've moved on from the same explanation that we've had for the last 4 hacks. But by doing this, you'll expand the size of your network, identify more opportunities, and increase your likelihood of getting a job. And then lastly, networking tip number 6. Connect with people attending this event. You've got to start somewhere, and I'm sure you all have similar experiences and stories to share. So let's put what I've said into practice already. And you can do this by going to this Flinger page. So this is just like a collaborative whiteboard space, and SEO1 is going to post this URL into the chat section of YouTube and Facebook now. I want you to click on Flinger, and then I want you to copy and paste your LinkedIn URL here on this Flinger board, and I'm then going to share the Flinger board with you afterwards, and you can start connecting with the people on the call. See if they work in the same industry as you. See if they have the same story. See if they can connect you with other people. Let's start networking now. Let's start increasing our likelihood of finding work in Finland, because it is the most important thing. So yes, you can find my LinkedIn profile here already if you want to connect with me. But what I need you to do is just go to this message section up here, copy and paste your LinkedIn profile, and then hopefully it will populate this whiteboard, and we can see who's here, and we can start connecting with one another. So I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes and have a few sips of tea. I've run out of tea. Excellent. The first two are in, which is great. I'm going to wait. There you go. Excellent. Going to wait 2 more minutes until 10:52. Next one. It's actually hard to tell what people's names are, but I'll leave that up to you guys after this call to connect and start talking with one another, because I'm sure we have a lot in common. Tons in common. Cool. Just going to wait 1 more minute for people to finish off writing. 30 more seconds, then we can move on. Oh, I can see on my phone that a couple of people have viewed my profile. That's great. That's really nice. That's good. Excellent. Thank you for being brave, guys. It can be difficult to put yourself out there, but it is very important in Finland. So great. That was a good exercise, and hopefully I'm going to start doing this every week in all of the different sessions. We can keep building our own networks and keep identifying new opportunities. So I'm going to go back to the presentation proper. This Flinger board, you have the link so you can connect with people in your own time, but I'll also share it with you via email so you can connect with the people there. We can now move on to the Q&A because there are no best-in-class examples for this presentation. But yeah, I know it was simple, maybe not entirely new, but I just really wanted to highlight the importance of networking and then the importance of following those hashtags and also making sure you've bookmarked all of those job sites. Because if you do those 3 things, you've basically got it covered. So, Seowan, do you have any questions at this stage?
Yeah, hello, Steph, again.
Hey.
I just posted all the links for the Flinger and the feedback form also.
Thank you.
Yeah, at the moment, we don't have yet any questions coming up, but how about we wait a couple of minutes for it?
Yeah, absolutely. So do ask questions now. I'm going to move on to the next slide, quickly talk about this, and then I'll go back to the questions to see if there's anything there. But this really short, concise presentation was built off the back of a much longer session we gave on the 24th of June with an entrepreneur called Julia Kaukinen. She's really lovely. And if you want to dig a little bit deeper and see what she spoke about, then I've included links to the presentation that she gave and also the live recording. So that session was an hour and a half, so it was a lot longer, but there was a few more like detailed points that were worth like looking into and digging deep into. Cool. Any questions come up?
Not yet at the moment, but for myself, I have a question related to this career clinic, which was really great because I myself also was in the job searching in Finland, and I know how difficult it is. My question was that because you mentioned about iterating and making minor changes like A/B testing, but one of the concerns or issues as an applicant is that it's really hard to know what you have done wrong or what you have done right when you just don't get any messages back. Do you have any advice in this kind of situation, how we can pinpoint the iteration thing?
Yeah, so you're right. The iteration comes from getting feedback, basically, because then it becomes obvious what it is that you need to change. So again, it might be uncomfortable, but call people up for feedback. When they post a job, they often include their phone number, and I would call them and ask them, hi, I recently applied. I'm still really interested in your company. I'd like to know what I need to do or what I need to be able to secure an interview in the future. And if they don't pick up the phone or if they don't get back to you, then get a friend to review your application and get them to be really critical about it and ask them, what do you think I could do differently? And I'm sure they'll give you a heap of things. Or you can ask me, send it to me via email or I'll show you my email later, and I can also help. But just ask around. Like, if you've got a friend who's a recruiter, ask them, like, what should I have done differently? And they might be like, well, actually, you don't answer the question in the application very well. And you're like, oh, okay. So yeah, don't be scared.
So the point is to get like a third objective eye on the application itself and get some feedback.
That's a much more articulate way of saying it. Yeah, get a third opinion, a second opinion, I should say. Yeah.
Thanks. Oh, actually, we have a question from Omar coming now.
Cool.
So lovely hacks and tips from 0, which means don't work, to 10. I will give a 0.01, don't work, based on my experience for getting a job. Am I wrong?
So can you rephrase? Can you ask the question again?
Yeah, I will ask. I will just read the question again. So from zero, which means I think it's a status that I'm not working actively, to 10, which means like the working status that I'm having a job. I'll give a 0.01. Don't work based on my experience for getting a job. Am I wrong? So that was the question itself.
Sorry, Emma, I'm not sure that I really understand. The question. But is he basically? I think maybe what he's asking is, on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely is it that I'm gonna find a job in Finland? I think maybe that's what he's asking.
Maybe how likely it is, and then if he's at the very beginning phase where like literally with no experience, what maybe are the tips that he could first start on out of this 10 hacks?
Yeah, so yeah, that's right. So he's saying 0 to 10 likelihood of getting a job. He currently feels like he's at 0.01, which is I want to say modest. I'll use a positive word. You're being very modest. I'm sure it's much higher than that, Omar. But what would my first tips be? And this is going to sound really cliche, but look back at the other presentations I've done about like your CV and cover letter and LinkedIn. Like those 3 things represent you as a person. And if they're not up to scratch, then you stand no chance. My second thing is to come and speak to us at the Shortcut, because we can understand you better, understand the kind of thing you're looking for, and start connecting you with companies. So, we're called the Shortcut because the idea is that we can connect you quickly to companies and positions that we think you can add value to. So I hope that answers the question. The reason I do these hackathons and these soft skill trainings is because it's the first barrier to entry to getting a job. So like, if you don't do these things well, like you will not be successful, even if you have all of the hard skills. So that's why we focus on them. So do make sure you attend and make sure you follow the advice. But the second thing is to come and speak to the Shortcut or email me, and we can arrange a call and I can talk through with you your strengths and potential companies. So yeah.
Yeah, great. Omar, so I would recommend you to go speak to Stefan directly.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, we have a next question coming from Martin. So does it make any difference to apply for a job through LinkedIn, Glassdoor, or a company's website? Or does it not matter at all?
It doesn't really matter what job sites you post it through here, but what matters is that you get in contact with the recruiter somehow. So not just through the job site. So if the recruiter's left their name and their telephone number before you apply, just think of one question. It only has to be one question, or maybe two questions that give you a reason to call up that person, and ask them, and just say, hey, great, this sounds really lovely, I'm going to apply, I'll let you know when I've sent my application. So that's my trick. Like, to be honest with you, like, applying for a job these days is very, very easy through Glassdoor, LinkedIn, all of the different job sites. But it's a headache for a recruiter because they get hundreds of applications within a day or two. So the only way you can stand out is if you somehow do something differently. And that's by building a personal connection. So calling them up, basically.
Yeah, so basically just sending out and then also do something differently. So like maybe sending a message to them additionally. Yeah, I think that's
yes,
a great hack, actually. I should do that as well.
Yeah, I should have put that here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the questions what we have for now.
Cool.
But as Stefan mentioned already, whenever you have a question, you can just send a message to him through LinkedIn, and all the address will be there in the presentation, and the message will send you afterwards.
Absolutely. And we spoke about the additional resources, that's all covered. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us today. Seowon has put the feedback form in the chat. So please click this and take the time to complete the feedback. It will only take 5 minutes, and it's really important for us to improve what we do. And if you're still interested in learning about soft skills, next week's session is going to be a lot more practical, and it's going to be about how to hack the interviews. So there's going to be loads of really good techniques about interview preparation, the sorts of questions that you should ask, but also the kind of skills that interviewers are looking for these days. And lastly, if you're a professional or a company and you would like to collaborate with The Shortcut, you can reach us on info@theshortcut.org. Yeah, that's it from me. Thank you very much for joining. Seowon, thank you so much for your help. Again, I really appreciate it. And have a good Wednesday, everyone. And I'll see you next week.